All right. Hi, everyone. So today is day 21 of the Day 30 challenge, and we are essentially almost finished. For today, I thought about talking about a topic which I haven't explicitly read in any book so far, but something that came to mind after thinking about the Renaissance era. I don't know how I'm thinking about these certain things when I'm supposed to be studying, for instance, because I did not do that today. But that's a different topic. Um, so essentially, I was thinking about the Renaissance era and how you have these polymaths. Polymaths are just accomplished people in various fields. I think the most prominent one that you know is Da Vinci, just because, he is known as a painter, as a scientist, as an innovator. He did a lot of things, a lot of random things, but we are essentially only taught that, he was a painter, which he was not. And I was thinking about AI as a certain catalyst for essentially a second Renaissance era. Now, why do I say this? Because AI, now, if you've heard about prompt engineering, you know that prompt engineering essentially is the art of asking a certain large language model what you want and then receiving the answer that you need. Now, that is still hard to do for most users, apparently, because you need to be very specific and you need to know how you format the prompt in order to get what you want. Now, assume that you know prompt engineering, right? You have at your fingertips the most capable polymath of the world, right? He can act as a teacher, as a professor. You can develop skills just by talking and typing to the model. And I think just because essentially everybody who has a device can use this technology, that AI can be now used as a teacher for you to become a polymath. And it's not only, wishful thinking that this kind of polymath thing is in the future, might not be happening. The job market is looking for polymaths. So if you've looked into the job market, or let's just take me, I work at a startup, right? Now I'm working in a field that I haven't been working in ever. And I'm also using tools that I only use in my spare time, and I actually never use them for work. And I do need to code, and I'm not a coder, right? And so AI in this sense is someone who accelerates the volume of work that I can accomplish within a limited time frame, just because I have the data and I know what to ask and how to implement the output of the model into the projects that I'm supposed to be doing at work. Does this make me a polymath? First step, not really, because I'm not accomplished in computer science, for instance. Does it pave the way to being a polymath? Yeah, because if you ask enough questions, or like you start to know enough systems around any topic. Let's just say with computer science, if you ask enough questions about computer science, you'll know eventually how software is built, what front and back end is, how you can connect front and back end, what you use to build these, where to host these. And that is the beauty of AI, essentially. That's something that we are kind of overseeing with the dangers of AI, which are, valid. But again, this is a tool that makes polymaths. So what do we do? Now, you could say that, just because I'm asking enough questions and I'm using what I learned from the model or the interaction with models, that it's not enough to be polymath at any rate, which again is true. But how many, if you want to be accomplished in certain fields, how much do you actually need to know in order to be accomplished? We've never set a certain level of competence to say, oh, you're accomplished. We only look at the outputs. So even if you are a beginner in, let's say, computer science, and you are thinking of a very rudimentary way of, let's say, solving the black box issue in AI, where we don't know how AI is forming its answers, and you have a thought and you kind of develop the idea, you publish it, that still makes you a valuable asset to a certain industry, even though you're not accomplished yet. You're starting your way as a polymath just because of AI. And I think that's what AI will be used by people who want to, become better at certain things and see that you need to be fluent in several parts of your life. So it's not just, having hard skills and soft skills. You need to be able to expand both. So that might be a pretty lazy prediction of polymaths, but I think that's what's probably happening. And the thing is, a lot of these thoughts I just refer actually from startup jobs. So what I've seen is that a lot of startups, for instance, they'll take you to work, right? Like they'll employ you even though you don't know everything. And this mindset, which was, dominant in startups, is now getting foot in the corporates, in like bigger corporations. They don't expect you to know everything, but you need to kind of like work your way through certain skills that you don't know. And I know this video wasn't really properly structured because I'm kind of tired. So, I was like, let's just do something. Apologies about that one. I'll make sure it might not happen again. And as always, or like not as always, but I just started to do kind of visual summaries of what I've talked about. I did it again, and I do think that the designs are actually cool. I've built them all with Google AI Studio, so much about talking AI. Feel free to check them out. They're way shorter, and it's essentially everything that you need to know if you didn't watch the video. Thank you, and bye.